Hello students. Today we are going to learn about information and communication technology. So if I ask you what is information and technology, you might have come up with various answers. So if I have taken all these things together, we can say it's collecting data using various methods like questionnaires, face-to-face interviews, discussions, so and so, and processing those data for various purposes can process according to the need, those data according to the need for various purposes. We can process those data and storing those data and process data or the information. Once we have processed data, we call it information. So storing those data and information and sending those information to the various personnels, the relevant personnels. Now up to now we have done these things at the early ages also. In all ages they have done, the people have done this. Even us, some of you students, the teachers might have done the marking sheets at the end of the term test to collect the marks of subjects, and then add these marks and then take the average and ranking the students. Those things they might have done it with a pen and paper. So that's manual processing, right? So but here we are considering about doing these things using new technology like computers and internet. When we consider about these things, we are learning about those things actually, the new technology. Now what is this? We are doing ICT, we are learning ICT. So learning about these technologies and managing all this stuff, we call it all together ICT. So if we consider about ICT, mainly we input something, we input data, then we'll input instructions also. Then with that, according to the instructions, those data will be processed arithmetically or logically, and then the output will get the information or the processed data. So we'll go back to the same example. If we take the student marks, term test marks, so you input the subject marks of the students, then you give the instruction, okay, add up these marks, then average these marks. So adding up, you use arithmetic process, right? Adding up, then dividing it with the number of subjects, we'll get the average. Then we have to get the rank, we have to compare logical things, we have to compare, okay, which one has got the highest marks, you have to compare with each other. When you get the highest mark, the grade first in the class, then the second in the class, likewise we compare and get the ranks. And another thing is, okay, we want to see how many students has got less than 40 for mathematics or less than 40 for science. uh, we can see those things by doing the logical processing things, right? Logical processing means we can compare, okay, less than how many students. Now these logical operators, actually this is not equal sign. In computers we are using this not equal sign and equal sign, greater than, less than symbols, and or not. These logical operators we will learn it later, right? Arithmetics, you know, the multiplication, the division, and then addition and the subtraction. Multiplication, for multiplication we use the asterisk mark because we can't use x. It will be confused, it will be uh, confused actually with the x, letter x, right? So here once we have taken these student marks, we will divide it, add it up, divide it, and then we compare it and we'll get the rank. So that is the information. The whole mark sheet is a bunch of informations. With the rank we can get the ranks, and then we can see how many students have got lower marks, how many students got higher marks. So likewise for various subjects. So you likewise it's how we are getting information once we have input data. So all these things we are taking data as the main thing. Without data there's nothing, right? So set of facts, figures, images, letters, graphs and measurements that have not been processed in any way, we call those things data. So a set of informal, meaningless and disorganized elements we call data. It's meaningless and it's not disorganized, it's disorganized, right? Then data can be collected through experience. You can take it as experience, or the research data you can take, or doing quizzes. Then you can follow the discussions and you can give questionnaires and collect the data. So there are various methods of collecting data and various equipments also with the new technology. Then the importance of data lies in the way it is grouped. The importance of data, we have to consider how they have been grouped, or why we are collecting these data, what is the purpose of collecting these data, why we are going to process these data. So with that, the importance is very high. Sometimes the data is not very important, but the same data might be very important in another time, right? So that things happens. Then collections, the data can be collected. It's a nature of data. You can collect the data, you can store the data, you can calculate, you can do analytical things with the data, and you can retrieve the data what you have stored, you can take it back. Then representing ability. Now if you just follow news on TV or radio, you will get, okay, this even on internet you can follow, follow news. So you will get okay, Nuwara district today it has 20 millimeter rainfall. So likewise, you can represent data, right? Then data could be represented as letters, letter forms, words, and then numbers and other symbols and or colors. So when we consider about this data, we can classify actually two main data types are there. That is, one is quantitative data and the other one is qualitative data. Quantitative data means you can measure those data. It's a numerical value. So when it comes with the numerical, there are two types of numerical values. One is discrete, that is whole numbers, and continuous, that's fractional numbers, right? So these are the quantitative data where you can measure, you can give a number, that is quantitative data. The other one is qualitative data. You can't give a number, it's a non-numerical thing. It's just a condition. You can say, okay, are you married or not, right? Female or male, it's a condition. So those kind of data we call qualitative data. It's a condition, it's about condition. Like if you take name, it's a data, but it's a qualitative data. State of origin, it's a qualitative data. Citizenship, it's a qualitative data. Okay, you can say, would you like to follow this course or not? It's a qualitative data, yes or no. It's a qualitative data. So that's how qualitative data, you can't measure, you can't calculate using qualitative data, right? Then all these two kind of data we use to get information. So when we consider about information are systematically arranged data with a meaning, right? We need those information for a particular purpose. So that's the information. So when we consider about how we are taking information, the processing methods are arithmetical, logical, that is ordering according to the purpose, that is logical. Then statistical. Statistically, there are so many methods, statistical methods, but when you consider about the statistical things, again the base is arithmetic and logic, right? So that's how we are processing data. Then at the end, when we take the information, those information should be relevant to that particular purpose. It should be accurate. The accuracy is very important. Then completeness, it should be a whole data, whole process data. Then reliability, objectivity, timing, availability, accessibility, level of detail, consciousness, value of information, these should be there. Relevance, it should be relevant now. If we take the tsunami situation happens in 2006, and in some countries still those things are happening in future. Again, Sri Lanka might face one of those things. So how it happens? The Richter reading says, the Richter when the Richter readings goes higher than a particular amount, the if it is happens in the sea, under the sea, then these things are happening, the tsunamis will come. So at that time, there was no particular uh, place to get this information. That's why that disaster happened in Sri Lanka. But nowadays we are having a place to get that information, and then alarm system is going on. So those alarm situations are informed by those particular people. So this is the information should be go to the relevant person even, right? It should be go to the reach the relevant person, then it should be accurate. Now if we take the tsunami situation, it should be accurate. Okay, within today it will happen during the 2 p.m. it should happen. Otherwise, if it is false one, then again when they are telling, we are not reliably, like we are not trusting those information. So the completeness also very important. It should like the tsunami will come on 25th December around 10 a.m. These areas will be affected from that. So you have to evacuate those people around that area. So that complete information should come, otherwise that information is useless. And timing also, if the tsunami is coming on 25th and the alarm the information, if we get information after 1 hour or half an hour, is not good. It should come beforehand. The timing is very important. The analyzing and getting the information and giving it on time is very important. Then availability, it should be available for the particular purpose, for a particular period, for a particular persons. They should have the accessibility and the availability of the information should be there. The level of details, again it should be detailed, the complete information should be there, and consciousness about the information will arise, right? Then the value of information, all these things add up for value of information. So these are the characteristics of information. So I think and you have a clear idea about data and information now. So we'll just go for some examples. So the data, student sides of the class, second term subject marks, today's rainfall value of Sri Lankan cities, COVID-19 function and mortality of countries around the world. Those are those actually these are, I have taken as data. Now I have already asked you to do some homework with the Google Classroom. So I think you might have written some of the examples there. Again, just consider whether you have mentioned these things there, or you can write down these things. And then data, students height of the class. Okay, it's a data. But if we take it and analyze it, and okay, the highest student in the class is Nirmala, that is an information, right? Then if we take second term test marks, subject marks, if we collect those things, there's no particular data information. It's a data, right? It's meaningless. But if you just make it as order, if you sort it at order, okay, the highest from highest marks to the lowest mark for a particular subject, then again there's some information you can quickly take. Okay, what is the highest mark, what is the lowest mark, how many students are having the same marks, how many students are having lower than 40 marks, like that you can easily take it from the sorted list, right? Likewise, if you collect those subject marks and the example we have taken earlier, if you calculate the total and the average, and if you compare and get the ranking, the first in the class, this one is the first in the class, this one is the second in the class, this is the last in the class. So likewise, and the last one in the class is having average of this much. Like that we can get informations, and using those informations you can forecast about the future, how many A's we are getting, how many students will pass the O level exam or the GCE A level exam. So likewise we can forecast also the things with this, right? Then actually when we get GCE A level, O level results, again we are doing analysis, right? Then we can say, okay, this number of students have passed from the exam, this number of students has qualified for the universities, has qualified for the doing their A level. So likewise we can give information. So the third example I have given is today's rainfall values of Sri Lankan cities. So you can take each and every city's rainfall and you can compare it, and you can come up with, okay, the highest rainfall is in this area. Okay, we say in Jail area, today in Jail area there was a 100 millimeter rainfall. So likewise they will tell here, here and there some of the highest rainfalls and the lowest rainfalls, and at the end they'll say the highest rainfall happens in Jail area today, like that they will give a report. And main thing is the important thing is by analyzing the older reports, all the situations, and the how the recent data of these weather forecasting elements. They have taken all the data, they are monitoring these things. So according to those things they can predict about the future. Okay, tomorrow there will be rainfall in this area, this will be, there will be, this will area will be a sunny day for this area, or this area will get thunderstorms, stormy condition. Likewise they can forecast the forecast about the weather using this information. And with that we can make some decisions also, what we can do. Okay, tomorrow in our area there will be a rainfall, so I have to take an umbrella tomorrow. So tomorrow we should not go to the fishermen can take a decision. So tomorrow we are not going for going to the sea for our job, right? So likewise they can even get decisions using this information. We can predict using information, and we can take decisions also. And the last one I have given is COVID-19 infection and mortality of countries around the world. Now if you just look at this you might think, but if we want to see the infection and mortality of countries around the world, first we have to consider about that country. Yes, you got it correctly. You have to take first those data. You have to collect the data from each and every area of a country. Okay, the Jail area, today we found 10 infected people. In Western Province we have found 260 infected people today, and three mortalities, three deaths has happened today. So likewise the infected number of infected people and the number of dead people will be given each and every day by collecting the data of various areas. As a country we will hear each and every day the summarized report, right? So likewise all the reports have been taken from around the world to create the information given here. So especially I want to mention here, sometimes when we consider about data, those data is already processed data for a particular purpose. So that's why how we collecting data, gathering data, it will depend on the purpose we are collecting that data, right? So here if we think it as a country, we need the country's areas data collected, and we have to make a report, we have to do the analysis, and we have to make the report. But if we consider it as the whole world, the WHO people, they have to collect all the countries reports, and they have to say like that today is the highest infected number of people have been reported from this country, and they will do the tabulations, and they will put it in a table formats, and they will put it in graphs, and they can predict about tomorrow's how, and within next 1 year what will happen, or whether this will be slowly reducing, or whether this one is the risk is getting more and more. They will predict, the WHO people. And as well as here in Sri Lanka also, we can take the decisions using collecting data, Sri Lankan data, and we process it, and those information we are taking, and we are taking consideration about those data, and say okay, now the risk is high, we have to lock down this area, or the amount of death rate is high, so we have to lock down this for 2 months, like that. We can take decisions according to this information. Or sometimes, okay, now the number of infected people are reporting is less, so we can uh, work as earlier with safety precautions, like that we can make decisions. Now we can predict about the future. Now WHO already has predicted, now within another 2 3 years we have to live with this virus. So likewise we can predict, we can get decisions, we can be safe with the uh, informations they are giving, right? So that's all for today. So I think I have given some of the works in Google Classroom. So I think some of the students might have done, I have seen some of the students have already done the exercises. So you can follow this, and you can do those exercises till we meet next, till we meet again. Have a good day.